And then Quora is another site where people log in and post questions, and other people come in and create an account and answer the question. So what all these sites have in common? Well, they all have extremely high user engagement. They all have this thing where you come to the site and you're expected to create a profile, and once you create a profile, you can log into the site and produce content. And surprisingly, actually all those types of sites can be built with WordPress. At our company, we build sites like this every day, job hiring sites, all this kind of stuff. And the thing that bridges the gap that allows you to go from a one-way broadcast to extremely high user engagement is BuddyPress. So what is BuddyPress? BuddyPress, a lot of people who've never used it sort of think of it as a social networking plugin, which is accurate, but I would personally describe it as a community development platform. So I'll say that one more time so it sinks in. It's a community development platform. So it's useful for building a community on your site, and it's extremely useful for developers. Move to the next one. The creators of BuddyPress, their goal was to create a plugin that could be used. Basically, really their goal was to allow people to build communities on WordPress. And so they thought to themselves, what are the most important things that people might need on a WordPress site in order to build a community? And they came up with 6 basic components that they felt were the most important ones. And so BuddyPress comes with all 6 of those components. And you could really think of BuddyPress as sort of a suite of social or community building plugins. And each one of those components are extendable by a developer. And as well, as a developer, you can also build your own components that do other things. So the first one is profiles, activity streams, friends, private messaging, user groups, and forums. So quickly, I'm just going to go through these 6 items and explain how these could be used potentially to increase the user engagement on your site. So the first one, profiles, we already identified there's this big problem that you have no idea who any of your users are, and they don't know who you are. And profiles immediately solves this problem, right? Your users come in and create an account, they have a photo of themselves, and they have profile fields they can fill out and build a profile. And let's say you posted a blog post, they could actually click your author link. And ordinarily with WordPress, they would basically see like an archive of all the blog posts you created, which isn't very telling. Now they can actually be sent to your profile and see who you are. Activity streams, similar to a newsfeed in Facebook, the activity stream, it tracks all the activity you're doing on the site and makes it available in one central location. Like for example, if you create a blog post, that will be in your activity stream that you create a blog post. Friends, very similar to Facebook, you can become friends with somebody, private messaging, the same. User groups is really cool. When you have a big community of people, naturally, some people are going to be interested in similar topics and they can form a group together. And within those groups, they can have forums. So BuddyPress fits like a glove with BBPress. The core developer of BBPress is also one of the core developers of BuddyPress. So every group can have a forum where people can discuss stuff. So you can see right out of the box, this is just what comes with BuddyPress. Very quickly, you have a site with a much higher user engagement than your standard WordPress site. And this takes 5 minutes to get from A to there. So let's talk about how you could potentially extend this, because this is just, this is WordPress, right? Like, there's thousands of plugins. You can extend all of this and make it much more complicated and solve more complicated needs. So you can take any of these components and extend them. So one thing you might want to do is front-end posting. So even with that scenario I just described a moment ago, it's still the case that only the site editors are producing blog posts. With BuddyPress, you could easily give your users the ability to actually, when they're logged in, create their own blog posts from the front end of the site, never even logging into the admin. So suddenly you can have a community blogging platform. Gamification, you can reward your users for doing things, and that's going to keep them coming back to the site. So for example, if we're going with the blogging example, if somebody writes a really good blog post or lots of users are liking their content, you can give them a badge to show them that they're an awesome person. Like Reddit does this, people who write a lot of content that gets upvoted, they get badges and they keep coming back to the site. Subscriptions, so this opens up all kinds of opportunities for monetization of your site, because now you don't just have a bunch of anonymous visitors, you have people who are part of your community, they're part of your brand, they're coming in on your site and they're doing things, and you can actually have levels, you can set up tiers of subscriptions. So for example, you might have some free users who log in and do some basic stuff, and maybe you have another tier of users you bill them monthly, and they can do more advanced things on your site. This is a very common way to make money, and your site can, a subscription-based site is going to make a lot more money than a site that's just running ads. And then another idea is newsletters. So let's not forget that you have every one of these people's email, right? Every person who creates an account on your site is now a user in your WordPress admin, and you have their email address. So of course, you want to do this the right way. The way you do this is when they create their account, you have a checkbox and ask them if they want to be part of your newsletter. And usually a pretty high percentage will say yes, and then now you can send out newsletters to these people. And it's a known fact, I know from personal experience, that when you send out newsletters to your users, that's the best way to get them back to your site. So this is a really good tactic for not only building a community, but then reaching out to them and bringing them back to the site. So these are still some sort of, all the examples I gave are kind of within the normal conventions of what you expect WordPress to do, right? In our minds, WordPress is kind of a content platform, like blog posts and pages, but there are really out-of-the-box things that BuddyPress enables you to do. So one is social learning. So at our company, BuddyBus, this is something that we really care about a lot. I don't know what it's like in India, but in America, education has become outrageously expensive to the point that most people graduate with decades of debt. And so the solution is that education has very rapidly been moved to the internet. And so naturally, lots of people have tried to solve this problem with WordPress. So there's plugins like Sensei and LearnDash. Any of you guys familiar with Sensei or LearnDash? Some people. So those are plugins that exist to let you create courses with lessons on WordPress. But it has the same problem that we talked about before, that it's still kind of like this empty one-way channel, right? The editor logs into the account and creates a course, and someone else comes to the site and reads the course and maybe takes a lesson, but you can't really, no one's interacting with each other. So in no way is this really replacing the experience of a classroom. Enter BuddyPress in the picture and you can hook all this stuff together. And now your teachers can actually create a teacher profile and they can send messages to their students. If they have concerns, the students can ask questions to the teachers. You can create a group around the course that allows people to have a discussion and have like a sort of online classroom experience around each course. BuddyPress is what enables that to be possible. And we have plugins that allow this. A job platform. So this is a really common use case scenario for BuddyPress. There are lots of really popular job plugins that exist for WordPress, like WP Job Board, Job Manager, there's a handful of them. And they still have the same problem again, that the employer comes on the site and creates a job post, and someone else comes to the site and reads it, and maybe they fill out a form and an email is sent to the employer. So the experience is sort of like Craigslist. It's basically just a posting. It's not really a community, so the engagement among your users is going to be very low. With BuddyPress, you can set it up so that the employer creates a profile and you can set up the fields so that they're basically creating a company account. And then the job seeker is essentially, when they fill out their profile, is creating a resume on the site. And then the employer and the job seeker can actually send messages to each other. And you can, again, you can have subscriptions, you can charge them for access, charge them to post the job, and you can build something like similar to Odesk or LinkedIn on BuddyPress, on WordPress. And then one more example would be media sharing. So I was talking about how all the BuddyPress components are extendable. So we have a plugin for the activity stream that allows you to upload media, photos into the activity stream. And you could go a step further and make your own components and allow people to upload videos, allow people to upload artwork, and you can make a site similar to like Vine or Pinterest or Dribble or Behance. Any of these kinds of things is actually possible to do using WordPress media all in the front end. So I hope I got you inspired. The goal of this talk is really just to people who haven't learned anything, who've never used BuddyPress, to get a sense for what's actually possible. Pretty much anything you can think of where people are logging into a website and creating a profile and then interacting in some way is going to be possible to do on WordPress if you use BuddyPress and if you're creative and willing to put some work into it. So if you've never used BuddyPress before, I want to leave you with some ways to get started, some good resources. So one is the BuddyPress Codex. Similar to the WordPress Codex, this is for developers. It's going to get your feet wet, teach you how to build a component, how to extend the component, how to work with BuddyPress on a technical level. There's buddypress.org/support are the official BuddyPress support forums, and there's a huge community. It's very friendly, and you can learn a lot from people there. BP Tricks is a site that is for tutorials and tricks for BuddyPress. It's a great learning resource. And then our own site, we have a tutorial section where we have video tutorials. A lot of them are for our own products, but we also have some intro tutorials. We have one is a video that explains how to use BuddyPress that's very popular, and you might want to check that out. So that's it. Thank you. All right. Any questions? If you got questions, let me know, and then I'll let you guys get lunch. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So if I have a support forum, which I want to, gamify, would I just need BuddyPress, or would I need a forum software on top of it, like something like BuddyPress, or what? Would I need something?
Sure. Okay. So the question was, if she wants to have a forum on her site and wants to gamify it, does she need to use BuddyPress or some forum software, or is BuddyPress enough? So there are a couple parts to this question. So the first one is you would need BuddyPress, but BuddyPress and BuddyPress, I was saying before how BuddyPress is sort of like a little suite of plugins, you could think of it that way. BuddyPress is installed separately, but it's kind of part of that suite. So the core developer of BuddyPress is also the core developer of BuddyPress, and they're intentionally built to work together really nicely, and they do. And even when you install BuddyPress, as soon as you activate BuddyPress, it starts giving you some extra options if you want forums to be tied to groups and things like that. So you would use BuddyPress. You could use other forum software too, but that's the preferred one, and that will work. And then your users in BuddyPress, if you don't have BuddyPress, the users are just sort of names. Now when you click their name, it's going to go to their profile, and you know who these people are. And then to gamify it, it depends what you're trying to do, but you'd probably want to use MyCred or BadgeOS, which are two plugins that exist for MyCred will work for gamification. You could integrate that with the forums.
Hello Michael, this is Jitesh. I work with small businesses, mostly building websites for them. Let's say I want to gamify, something like for a restaurant where people check in and then they put up a status on BuddyPress. If that's what I understand correctly, I haven't worked with BuddyPress or BuddyPress even before. So would BuddyPress be okay for a small business, or would it be an overkill for them?
I want to make sure I don't understand the question perfectly.
So let's say there's a small business.
Yeah.
And like what Foursquare does it
with check-ins.
Let's say for a restaurant. If I want to do something for a small business like that, would that be an overkill, or
would it work with BuddyPress for a small business? So the answer is yes. In terms of development, BuddyPress is just a plugin that you activate in WordPress. So if you know how to build WordPress, you can learn how to build things with BuddyPress. And so the size of the business is not a huge factor, I don't think. In fact, the smaller the business, the more it makes sense to use BuddyPress, because it's free and it's quick and you're getting a lot of that out of the box. And then BuddyPress has a status update, and so you could do something with that status update and modify it to be, the exact experience you want for check-ins. And in terms of, people who are doing check-ins probably want it to be working on mobile. BuddyPress is adopting your theme. It's not running its own theme. It's injecting some templates into the content area of the site, similar to like WooCommerce or lots of other plugins that have some design layout to them. So that content's going to go into your theme. So if your theme is mobile, then this is going to work responsively as well. We sell our own themes that are like super responsive specifically for BuddyPress, but if you already have a theme that's really responsive, it'll probably work anyways. Yeah.
Hi Michael, I'm Vijay. I want to start two businesses. The first one is my owner in an online rental agency and a metropolitan website. Is it possible to make these type of dynamic websites using BuddyPress? Online rental agency and metropolitan agency.
The first was an online rental agency?
Yes.
What are people renting?
Both. No. Flats, properties, real
Real
estate.
estate. Oh, you want to do an online real estate
Yes.
solution using BuddyPress. Yeah, so remember what I said before, that BuddyPress is a community development platform. So those people, if you want to have people who are doing real estate, we've built sites that are real estate using BuddyPress. So if you want to have people, you want a community of people who are listing real estate properties, you would, the people who want to list those properties can use BuddyPress to create their profile and log in. And one of the things BuddyPress enables is for everything to happen on the front end of the site, right, within the design. You don't want your visitors to have to go into the admin. So BuddyPress allows this, so they're going to create a profile on the site. And then you'd have to have some sort of custom component for producing the real estate listing. And then you'd have a directory where they can search that. And then you could have another user type who potentially logs in and creates an account and interacts with that listing. Maybe they send messages to the people, or maybe they never log in. Maybe they're just site visitors and they contact the phone number they list or whatever. But yeah, certainly it's possible.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nikhil. About your user engagement, I have a very generic question was, why do we want to get traffic to our websites? Isn't that kind of counterintuitive where you have platforms like Facebook and Twitter where you can generate user engagement? Why would you want to get people onto your website? I have a lovely product, and if I want people talking about it, would I want them to be talking about it on my website or on Facebook where millions of others can see it?
Sure, I understand. So you could extend that argument to WordPress too. You could say, do I need to have a WordPress site when I could have
No,
Facebook?
that's my, my core is I have a site which explains all my features and
Sure.
it, shows what I do.
Yeah.
Is all right. Yeah, I can even have a demo there if I have a web-based product. But to generate user engagement and people talking about it, essentially people talking about my product or service, I would expect it to do it on a popular
On
platform
Facebook.
like Facebook.
I
or
understand.
Twitter.
I understand. So I would think of Facebook as one of your marketing channels. So this does not mean you should abandon Facebook by any means, right? So like for us, we have a Facebook account, and some people contact us through Facebook. We have a Twitter account. People ask us questions in Twitter, but on our own site, it's a controlled experience. It's our brand. It's our design. We have our own support forums, for example. That's our community on our site, right? People buy a product and then they come in and interact with our support staff in our support forums. We're not going to do our support on Facebook. We want our own controlled environment. Or any of these examples, let's say you want to have your real estate site. You're not going to do that on Facebook. You might want to charge people for access to come in and post their real estate listings. So it depends on your use case scenario. It's not going to make sense for everybody. But if you want to control the experience and have a user base that's related to your topic and own the data, then you're going to want to use BuddyPress. If all you care about is just like marketing to the biggest audience, maybe Facebook is all you need.
Yeah, just a quick question. I run a blog which has good amount of visitors.
Okay.
I have tried BuddyPress earlier. The problem is that, like he said, people still want to go and discuss it on Facebook, on Quora or stuff like that. Can you tell me one site which is really popular and it is based on BuddyPress? So, just to understand which kind of site suits BuddyPress sort of a platform. Any sites which you can name which are on BuddyPress and are really popular?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of them. So the one that's often named as Tasty Kitchen is an extremely popular site, and that's like a recipe sharing site. But I can even tell you the very first BuddyPress site I ever made that got me into BuddyPress is called Easy Outsource, and it's a site for hiring people online. And that site got 30,000 visitors within a year on BuddyPress, and we were charging people to post jobs. So that would have been impossible to do outside of BuddyPress. I mean, really, we originally didn't even plan on doing it in WordPress. We were looking at Drupal, and that's how I discovered BuddyPress. And like very quickly, got most of the things I needed out of the box. I was able to let people log in, create a profile, contact each other. We had a support forum on there. The only custom part basically was creating the job. Basically, we found a job posting plugin and had to hook that in with the profile. That was the custom work and some design stuff. But like 80% of it out of the box is BuddyPress. and yeah, lots of users.
Just a small point there. Michael did mention it in his point, but I'd like to highlight it. I guess these solutions are especially important for you when you want to own your data.
Yes.
You want to own the comments, you want to own the knowledge which is built in this community. Because if you go to Facebook or Twitter, you're contributing to Facebook, and they can do what they want with that data. They could decide that you can't delete data later, they could decide they can do whatever they want with it, which is not so bad for many businesses, but it is terrible for some businesses. So if you want to completely own the content, the data which gets posted. For example, right now you can go and delete spammy comments or spam responses or terrible responses on Facebook, but if that would change, you would have no say in that. Like some review sites say, I won't let a negative review go. I mean, you'd have to keep it there. And so that's one possible reason I can think of when you'd like to build your own captive engagement platform.
Right.
Kishore?
Hi.
Hey.
I have used BuddyPress and BodyWash things and products. It's very good. But previously, like, so earlier it was like BuddyPress only plugin for the social activity and the profile things. And nowadays there's some new plugin like Ultimate Members and some people ask. Didn't remember the plugin names. So how do you think that is that going to replace BuddyPress? And some customers are switching from BuddyPress to Ultimate Member and some other plugins.
Sure. So the question is, there are some competitors on the scene with BuddyPress, and are those going to replace BuddyPress? So I would say the answer is no, they're not going to replace BuddyPress, at least not anytime soon. Most of those plugins are pretty new, and BuddyPress has been around for many years and has had many iterations and is a very mature plugin with millions of downloads and a huge user base and passionate contributors. It's like even the fact that I'm here giving a talk about BuddyPress, and there are just a few weeks ago, Tom and I, we were at a WordCamp, basically an event like this specifically for BuddyPress. So the community around BuddyPress is pretty huge. But that said, those competitors, that's a sign that BuddyPress is doing well, the fact that people are trying to come in and compete with it. It means people see an opportunity. So are there competitors to WooCommerce? Are there competitors to WordPress? All these things, sure, they have competitors. So hopefully having competitors will mean that BuddyPress will need to step their game up and get even better to stay relevant. And of course, with our company, I mean, our plan is to keep improving the things that you can do with BuddyPress so we can stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Okay. I've been using BuddyPress for educational purposes.
Okay.
Okay. The only thing I wanted to ask, the question is related to security.
Sure.
Let's say there's an activity stream, okay, and I know that the students are much more interested in hacking and all. So if someone uploads any kind of malicious code in the format of JPEG or some kind of thing like a shell script or something, do you have something related to security where we can protect the site?
Sure. So you want to make sure people aren't uploading malicious code into the site.
Yeah.
So for one thing, if people are pasting most of the malicious code is going to be in the form of PHP. If people are pasting PHP into the activity stream, I don't think that will actually output as code that can execute. So that's going to get rid of most of it. But that said, it's not foolproof. So some solutions, one is that if you anticipate a problem like this, you can lock the site down so that only certain kinds of users get access to the site. And you can have moderators on the site who will, this is sort of a problem. Anytime you have a social network with a lot of users, people can come in and do malicious in multiple ways. It's not always security. They might just post super inappropriate stuff, or they might be mean. So if you're going to have a community like that and it's going to get big, I'd really recommend having moderators who go in and make sure everything's good on the community. Yeah, it's the best answer I can give at the moment.
Yeah, hello Michael.
Hi.
Actually, we are using WordPress from 2009, I guess.
Cool.
So I have seen BuddyPress, very previous versions of BuddyPress also. One of my friends was using BuddyPress in 2009 and he is currently also using it. So actually we faced the problem that the BuddyPress, when we installed BuddyPress, the site got slower.
Okay.
Because it put load on server. Currently also on WordPress we are having plugins like Super Cache for caching and WP Total Cache.
Okay.
So is there something on BuddyPress that we can have so that the load on the server is reduced?
Sure. So we have some tutorials on our site about how to speed up BuddyPress, and I actually have an ebook that I just wrote about 10 steps to speed up BuddyPress that's going to come out soon. So that will be a good resource. The answer is, well, okay, so BuddyPress makes it a little bit more difficult to keep the site optimized, and the reason is that your site is dynamic. So if you have a basic WordPress site with blog posts, you can install W3 Total Cache and just cache all the pages so that when someone visits the site, the server doesn't have to produce that page every single time. It's just like a cached HTML file that's sent. You can do that on a WordPress site. With BuddyPress, you can't do that because the page is being recreated constantly. That makes sense? So you have to get a little more creative with what you do. The answer is basically that BuddyPress is going to get a lot of queries to the database simultaneously when you have a lot of users. So your focus is on helping to reduce that. So WordPress and BuddyPress allow for PHP like object caching. It's built into the plugin, so you can enable that on your server, and that will help a lot. And then it's really nice if you have a good server setup. If you're using just regular WordPress, you can get away with like some cheap GoDaddy shared hosting, but on BuddyPress, that's not going to cut it. The site's going to get very slow. So it's much more important that you have a good server setup where you can control some aspects of the server and where you have a lot of RAM available to you. RAM's a big thing, right? If you're going to do caching, object caching, it's going to be storing a lot of stuff in RAM, so you want to have like a good server setup. And there's a lot of other little things you can tweak there too, but basically it does require you to put a little more focus on making sure PHP code can run quickly.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much, Michael. We will call that the last question. Thank you, everyone. Big hand for Michael, please.
Thank you.
Lunch is served, and we will be back in here for the next session. Please check the schedule and see if that's a session which interests you.